many of you have business or are selling products, services, and they're using social media to find your audiences? Okay, so a little bit more than half. So I'm talking about how you can reach your audiences. And the problem is that today we don't own our audience. As Stefanos was saying, we own only the emails, but we are renting space on Instagram, on TikTok, until they change their algorithms and our content is not published anymore. So a little bit about me. Stefano was saying, I started my nomading career as an airline pilot, traveling everywhere. I traveled many countries in the world. Then I became an entrepreneur, I launched my ventures, and a couple of years ago, I joined Satlantis, a social network for digital nomads. So the problem with social media, right? Why did I ask you this question? Well, you don't own your data. Everything you post on Instagram is not yours. Everything you post on TikTok, if they want to ban it or to shadow ban it, it's not yours. If you post on Twitter and you talk about certain topics, maybe Twitter will limit your reach. And if you post on YouTube, maybe if you say certain keywords, you will not see ads. So you will not monetize your videos. And the problem with that is that because of these problems on any social media platform, you have to have different social media accounts. You have to have accounts in TikTok, in Instagram, in Twitter, and LinkedIn, and you have to talk about a different topic in each network until you discover what works in every network. So you have to have multiple accounts and multiple audience. So all the effort you put on LinkedIn doesn't translate on TikTok. So you're business owners, you're entrepreneurs, and you have to also become social media managers. So it doesn't make any sense. And the problem is that they are not interoperable. Anything you do on LinkedIn cannot be reshared on Instagram. Of course you can copy paste, but then you cannot bring your likes or your comments or anything else, right? So I'm here to talk about something new, like because the way the internet is built today, I say it's broken. But there is this protocol, and today I'm going to be a little bit more technical, which is called Nostr. So let me start with that. What is Nostr? As Stefanos was saying, I'm trying to combine the power of email with the distribution of social media. What's the power of email? Email, you own your emails. If you guys have a product that you sell on your website, you can say sign up on my newsletter, and then you capture the email of your audience. You put it on your database, on your spreadsheet. And then from there, you can reach to that person. It doesn't matter if you changes from one internet provider to another, there's people that own their own email servers. So they will bring with them all the messages that they have created. So this is the power of email. And I put here like this little graph. So let me give you this example. I sent an email from Gmail. Here you have. I can send it to Outlook. And it works. It's interoperable, right? You cannot do that. You cannot send a DM on Instagram and receive it on TikTok, right? This is because email uses this protocol that is called email. And then that email that was sent to Outlook can be then resent to a Proton account. And it's the same, right? So this is the power of email. You own your contacts, you own your database, you own your audience. And it's interoperable. And then the distribution of social media. What does social media have that email doesn't have? The email works only if you have the email of your potential client. But if you don't, you have like one database of what? An empty database. So that's why we use social media. Social media, you post a great content, a great piece of content. Maybe it can be like an introduction of what your product is, or it can be you just talking to your customers. It can be a testimonial of your customers. And if the video hits the algorithm, then it has the power of distribution. And even though you know nobody on that social media platform, you are reaching an audience. And maybe your video can reach 1,000 people, 2,000 people. If you don't have that 1,000 emails, so email is not useless. So email is good for ownership. You own your content. And social media is good for discoverability, right? So you post something and many people will see it. Until the social media platform decides to change the algorithm, or whatever you said is not interesting anymore because you used a keyword that is not popular now because of the agenda this social media platform has. What else? Viral loads. So if your content is good, people will reshare it and it will reach more people. right? So we have these two problems, and that's why we entrepreneurs have to have our website, a lot of social media platforms. We have to have Instagram, we have to have LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and whatever else that comes on every time. To and forward. We're entrepreneurs. We just want to post to have our clients and keep them close to us. So how does Nostr work? All right, so for the non-technical people, now it's the time to open your phone and do not listen to me, because this is going to be a little bit complicated. So I'm trying to not lose you. On Nostr, you have like apps. Nostr is a protocol. Nostr is like an email. Email is a protocol. And then on top of it, you have apps. You have Gmail, you have Outlook, you have Proton. On Nostr, you have the user that posts something on the app. Here, it says client. For whichever reason, they are called clients, not apps. So that's it. So you post something on Nostr, you post it on a client, the client broadcasting to the rest of the network through the relays, which are like computers that are connected one to each other, and then the audience will see it. Right? I don't want to get technical on that. If somebody has questions, I'm happy to answer them. More technical questions, I'm happy to answer them later. What's important is the principles. The Nostr principles. I'm trying to go quick so that you can have more time to ask me questions. So Nostr is like it's an open source protocol. What does it mean? That everybody can audit the code and you can see if there are issues, if there are mistakes on the code, anybody can fix it. You don't know how social media platforms work. You don't know how Instagram works. It's closed source software, so you don't know if there are backdoors from the government, from the company itself, from an employee that wants to resell your data. Probably you have heard a couple of times that some of the social networks data was leaked, and we don't know how. Maybe a bribe, maybe somebody lost the password, some employee lost the password. But just some hackers bought a zero-day script exploit on the deep web, on the dark web, and then all the data is lost. So that cannot happen on Nostr because on Nostr, nobody owns the data, but the user that participates. When you create an account on Instagram, you have to give an email and a password. And this has to be stored on a database, on a server from Instagram. They will tell you it's encrypted and blah, 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 but because it's closed source, you never know. And I've worked in apps for a couple of years, and I know ways to get into your accounts, even if I don't know your password. So those things can be done, right? So Nostr is difficult, it's secure, because the company that operates this app doesn't have access to your data. Only you have access to your data, right? This is why it's secure. Interoperable. There is a vast amount of products on Nostr. Nostr is just like a protocol, like if I would say email, as I was saying before, and on top of it, you can build apps. So with one identity, with one digital identity that you hold, the one that I was telling you, you can log in so many different apps. Because the apps themselves, they do not host your email or your password or your credentials to log in. That's why it's interoperable. And I will give you a couple of examples later of where you can move your identity in Nostr. What else? Censorship resistance. I was telling before, right, that social media, normally you post things, and then when you post it, for whichever reason, the content doesn't scale, doesn't reach other people, doesn't spread as fast as other content. Of course not, because every social media platform has an agenda, and if you say something that they are not interested in, it will not spread. If today the topic is talk about Syria, all the content about Syria will be spread. But if you're talking about penguins in Antarctica, nobody cares. So, right? So, and it's understandable. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's like, I like to say like, my house, my rules. If you come to my house, if my house is Instagram, you'll abide by my rules. And if you don't like my house, you go to another house, you go to TikTok. So on Nostr, there is no type of censorship. You can post anything you want, and if nobody likes it, nobody will see it. But there is no algorithm that is trying to push you into a narrative to go someplace. No. What else? Open source, I already talked about that. Decentralization. Okay, this is something interesting. Let me tell you a story on how a social media platform works. When you post an image, let's say some of you were yesterday at the party, so some of you, I saw some videos on Instagram, right, of you having fun. How does it work? You take a video, you upload it to your account. What does it mean? It means that you have created a file that is just a a string of zeros and ones all together, combined, that are using like this video format that if you compile it with a video app, it will show a lot of pixels that are moving, and this is a video. This is a file, a long file. What you do when you post it on Instagram is you uploaded it to a server. This server is owned by Instagram. It can be an instance on Amazon Web Services, Google Platform, Azure, anything. But it's a private server that is owned by a company or that is rented by a company, in this case, Instagram. And when somebody else, like me, opens the Bansko Nomad Fest in Instagram account and I see the video, what I'm doing is I am connecting to that server because Instagram rented it and is allowing me to download this series of zeros and ones, and my phone, through my Instagram app, can convert that data into a video. So this is how it works. You upload the file somewhere, and then from there, somebody else can access to it. On Nostr, you upload this file not to a private server from a private company. There are many computers, many servers. A server is a computer, a small, dumb computer that has a lot of hard drive and internet connectivity plugged to electricity. Everyone can run a Nostr server. They are called relays. There are companies that are running it for profit. There are amateurs that are running it just to help decentralize the network. So what it means is that if Instagram, if the video that you posted yesterday at the Bansko Nomad Fest Instagram account, if you don't like it, then Instagram will shut it down. But in Nostr, nobody can shut it down because there is a lot of videos, a lot of servers, decentralized. What else? Verifiability. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones is verifiability. Anything you post on Instagram can be edited, can be changed, not only by you, but by any employee on Instagram that has a high level of control over your account. Anyone. And I don't know if you've seen that before, but maybe you look back on your Twitter profiles and you see things that you said that maybe you didn't say. Maybe it's a dot, maybe it's a comma, maybe it's an emoji. Things can change. Everything you post on Nostr, you need to sign it with an electronic digital signature, meaning nobody will be ever able to change what you say online. So this is a way to avoid fake news, clickbaits, and all this shit that is going on the internet. What else? Confidentiality and sovereignty. Why am I talking about all this? Because we're nomads, we're freedom seekers, we want to have our own independence, and we're going from country to country for different reasons, because this country treats me better. So we are looking for freedom. So what is better than freedom of speech? That Nostr gives us freedom of speech. And now, before finishing, I would like to show you some of the apps from the Nostr ecosystem that I like to use. I was using all the time the example of the social media use case, but Nostr can be used for many, many things. Not only for social networks, like there are a couple of social networks there, but you can use it as a podcasting tool. If anybody here has a podcast and they're posting on YouTube or on Spotify, you know how difficult it is to monetize. Well, Nostr, if you post your podcast in any of these platforms, like for example Fountain, and we have in the audience one popular podcast, Ben Werman, then at the end, he's posting all his podcasts on Nostr, and his fans are sending them direct tips, because Nostr allows you to receive tips directly. No middleman, no company in the middle. I know that you will say, no, I already got money from YouTube for TikTok or whatever. No, you're not getting money from them. So it's like your audience is paying TikTok, a Chinese company, then they do whatever numbers they want to do, and with that money, maybe at the end of the month, if they're still alive, they will pay you the money, right? No, this is direct tip. If I like Ben, I will tip him directly, from my pocket to his pocket. There are productivity tools, there are marketplaces, like eBay, but I'm not sure. You can bring your identity. So if you have your identity, you have all your followers, all your reputation. And of course, if you are nomads, I like to talk about the main social network, which is Satlantis, that you probably have seen. This is like a mixture of Instagram, Google Maps, TripAdvisor, all together. And if you're curious, or if you want to know more, why Satlantis? Well, because we are mixing. We're bringing like the social graph, the web of trust that you would have on a social media platform, but we're bringing it so you are the owners. So it's a way for you to find other fellow members, and probably you've been using it to register to some side events these days. And it's not only the side events, but it's also You see who's going there, where they have been, if they have discovered restaurants, places, etc. So if you're curious about this Nostr protocol, here's how you get started. You download Satlantis, you select your interests, and boom, voila, you're on Nostr. Welcome. So take a screenshot of this QR code, download the app, and thank you very much.